Welcome back to The Grave Doctor. I am continuing work on restoring fallen and broken grave monuments at Morley Cemetery in eastern Nebraska. As I mentioned on the last video, the gray areas on the cemetery map represent lots that were never used. The ones in the south end here that are highlighted with a blue border are lots where I have restored markers. Today I want to move up north just a bit to lot 55 and the grave marker for Lulu Staples. At my earliest visit to this cemetery in late November 2025, I was initially focused on these two fallen markers, and I restored one of them in the first video in this series. However, there was a tree near the center of the cemetery that had grown in an uncontrolled fashion, and I later learned that it had within it a hidden grave monument. Naturally, I decided that I needed to rescue that marker. In 2013, Find a Grave contributor Mr. B had crawled back deep through the branches to take a photo of the marker. This raised some questions. Why was this tree here in the first place? And how did it get so large as to cover over this grave marker? Was that a quiet chomping sound I was hearing from the tree? Why was it apparently eating that grave marker? It was time for a little detective work and for some selective pruning and limb removal to defeat this grave-eating tree. First of all, the investigation. The tree appears to be an eastern red cedar, probably planted by birds who ate the seeds. With no active maintenance here, such a tree could become quite large and slowly knock down any grave marker next to it. The eastern red cedar grows at a rate of about a foot per year. This one is about 30 feet tall, which suggests it started growing around 1996. The oldest photo of the cemetery I've been able to locate is from a book printed in 1980, Washington County History. On page 26 is a very short entry about the cemetery, and on that page is a photo. It is monochrome and of similar quality to a newspaper photo. But with a little help from AI, this can be sharpened and colorized. There, that's better. The view is from lot 74, just to the east of the Calvin Morley family plot with its distinctive iron bars surrounding it, and the camera is looking to the northwest. In fact, it is looking right where that tree should be, but it is not there. Instead, there appears to be a short white grave marker with what may be a tablet type of marker leaning against each side. So this cedar tree was not there in 1980, 46 years ago, and in that time a tree like this certainly could grow to this height. It was time to start working on some pruning. So at the end of December 2025, on a few days that were unseasonably warm, I went out with a small pruning saw and another tool to cut branches and started making my way inwards towards the marker that was near the trunk of the tree. By the end of the first afternoon, I had cut my way far enough in to get quite close to the stones that were visible, but not yet close enough to pull them out to examine. By the end of the second day of pruning, I was getting closer to a good view of the stones. However, the branches were very interwoven and thick, and it took a lot of pruning to get in there, but I had cleared away more of the tree and was closing in. At this point, I could actually get under the stone and pull it out to better view it, and when I did, I found that it was not a tablet, but rather was an obelisk type of stone. And under that obelisk was yet another stone, and next to that, a part of a tablet stone. That stone was the bottom half of another person's grave marker. That will be a video for another time. I could now get all of the pieces of the grave marker out and set up. It was a full marker, base, though broken, plinth, and spire. And now for the first time in many years, the grave monument for Lulu Staples could be viewed in nearly its original form. The monument was dirty, as it had been almost completely buried for some time, and the base stone was broken in half. This could have happened due to damage from a mower in the past or from the tree itself. There was also this, which I could not at the time figure out. It looked to be just a blank stone. And that's where things stood as of February 1st, 2026. It was still too cold to set up any grave markers or do any further digging into the ground. Winter gave way to spring, and with Memorial Day, I finally began restoring the cemetery's grave markers, starting with those featured in the previous videos. Lulu Staples' marker was still beneath the tree. Sheltered from the rain, it was no cleaner than the day I uncovered it. I decided it was time to resolve that problem. Having done a good cleaning now of this, I can still see the words for Lulu Staples and her date of death and her age. But now I'm aware that there is an epitaph carved into the stone that was not previously visible. There's also some engraving or carving into the sides of this obelisk that was not previously visible. The time was now right to get this marker properly repaired and reset. I did not want to place it where it previously was, as further growth of this tree in the future would cause the same problem again. So I picked a spot a few feet south of its original home. I moved the pieces of the monument off of the dirt, using the tripod for all three pieces. I did this not because they were so very heavy, but primarily to not strain my back in lifting them, particularly with the base pieces, which were fairly heavy. Now I needed to repair the broken limestone base. I started by cleaning the surfaces that were to be joined together. Then I mixed up the epoxy glue and spread it onto one of the surfaces. After lifting the other piece on top, I used elastic straps to help hold the two pieces together, though I suspect the weight was likely enough to have taken care of the job. Upon my return, I removed the straps and mixed up epoxy with stone aggregate to make a stone putty to repair the seams. This would improve the appearance and keep water out of the crack in the future. Finally came the day to complete the job. My friend Steve came to help that day, and we started by widening the hole in which to set the crushed limestone chips as a foundation. Steve's daughter Anne also stopped by to help and to contribute to the project. While we set this marker up, let me tell you about the person for whom this marker was placed. Lulu Staples was born on February 7, 1887, to Edward and Kathleen Staples. She lived only a short time, dying on May 9, 1887, and was buried at Morley Cemetery. The story of her parents is an unusual and interesting one. Before his marriage, Edward Staples worked as a teacher in Illinois. After he and Kathleen were married in Arlington, Nebraska in 1882, he served as cashier at the Bell Creek Valley Bank for 8 years before resigning in April 1890. They had another child in 1888 who survived, a son named Sharon. By 1900, the family had moved to Idaho, where Edward was employed as a quartz miner. In 1910, they were living in Oregon, and he had become a real estate agent. Sometime after 1910, Edward and Kathleen separated. By 1920, Edward, then 62 years old, was divorced and still working in real estate. He remained in that profession for many years before moving to Arizona at the age of 77. Edward died there in August 1944 at the age of 86. Following the divorce, and likely sometime after 1914, Kathleen married John Spencer McMurray in March 1919. She was 53 years old and he was 57. McMurray had previously served 3 years in a California prison from 1905 to 1908 after being convicted of bigamy. He had married 4 women in 4 different cities before abandoning them. After his release, he moved to Oregon, where he met Kathleen. Whether his relationship with Kathleen contributed to the breakup of her marriage to Edward or whether the separation occurred for other reasons is unknown. McMurray died the year after their marriage at the age of 59. By 1930, Kathleen was living in Tehama, California with her brother, Herbert Hammer, and working as a dressmaker. She died the following year at age 65. Although Lulu's life lasted only 3 months, the lives of her parents took them from Nebraska to Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona over the next 6 decades. Notice also that buried here at Morley Cemetery are Lulu's aunt, Sameta Hammer, her great-grandparents, John and Catherine Altz, her 2 great-aunts, Emmeline Unthank and Jessie Unthank, her 2 first cousins, Edith G. Cook and Willie Cook, her first cousin-in-law, Myrtle Wilson Cook, and her grandparents' cousin, Ferdinand Cook. This other marker that we are putting in place appears to be an epitaph marker, very similar to the one elsewhere in this cemetery, which was done for the twin daughters of Calvin Morley. Unlike that one, however, this is almost completely unreadable. And so now we have the before and the after for the monument for 3-month-old Lulu Staples. The epitaph or verse on her plinth reads, "Not lost, blessed thought, but gone before, where we shall meet to part no more." As for this other epitaph marker, perhaps with time I'll be able to decipher it. Maybe it's not for Lulu after all. Well, and as for this grave-eating tree, I'll just have to keep an eye on it. Thanks for watching this restoration. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with others who enjoy cemetery restoration and preservation. Join me, the Grave Doctor, next time for another restoration at Morley Cemetery.